Herzlich willkommen zu einem neuen Video von GCSE German Tutorials.
The perfect tense. Hi and welcome to our video about the perfect tense. So the perfect tense indicates a completed action, so an action that happened in the past. In English we have I have done something and I did something, but this tense mostly covers both of these because there isn't really a distinction between them in spoken German. And finally, this tense is mostly used while speaking. Start with spielen, which means to play, and it's regular. So, to make a past participle, you take away the en, you add a g at the front, and add a t at the end. So spielen becomes gespielt, which now means played. First, we conjugate haben. So if you haven't already watched our video on the present tense, I would suggest watching that now. So here, haben is the auxiliary verb and gespielt is the past participle. So after you've conjugated haben, you then add gespielt. So ich habe gespielt is I played. Du hast gespielt is you played. Er hat gespielt is he played. Wir haben gespielt is we played, and so on. So next we'll move to irregular verbs. Now, haben and sein aren't really used in the perfect. They mainly take the imperfect tense, which we will cover in another video. Now, sadly, there are loads of irregular past participles, but we'll do essen first. So, as we did with the regular, we conjugate haben, so ich habe, du hast, sie es hat, wir haben, ihr habt, sie haben. And then we add the past participle, which is gegessen. So it's not geesst, which would be if it was regular, it's gegessen. So now we get to move on to the thrilling verb of lesen, which is to read. So again, we write out the very exciting forms of haben, and then the past participle is gelesen. So, ich habe gelesen is I read, du hast gelesen is you read, hat gelesen is he read, so on. So there is a general rule of thumb, but this is extremely general. So if in English the perfect is not I something, it's likely to be irregular in German. This doesn't work all the time, but it can work sometimes. So for example, you don't say I eated. So it's likely that in German the verb for eat is going to be irregular, and it is. Essen is gegessen, not geesst. However, in English, play and dance is regular because you say I played and I danced. So the verbs to play and to dance in German are likely to be regular, and they are. Ich habe gespielt und ich habe getanzt. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but there is another slight bump in the road. Most perfect tenses use haben as the auxiliary, the verb that comes before the perfect bit, but some use sein. The most common verbs that go with sein are bleiben, which means to stay, gehen, to go or to walk, and fahren, to drive. Past participle of bleiben is geblieben, so Geblieben, tricky vowel swap there. The past participle of gehen is quite irregular, it's gegangen, Gegangen, and fahren is gefahren. It can be tricky to know when to use sein and when to use haben for the perfect tense, but the general rule is that sein goes with verbs of movement. So, for example, rennen, which means to run, laufen, which means to run, and reisen, which means to travel. So the past participle of rennen is gerannt. If you think I run, I ran, not I run, I runned, so it is irregular. Laufen is gelaufen, and reisen is gereist, so that's regular. Now, some verbs are even more annoying as they can take both haben and sein. So, for example, getanzt. But if you think about it, ich bin zum Café getanzt, which means I danced to the cafe. It has a direction. You're dancing in a direction to the cafe. But if you were to say, ich habe die ganze Nacht im Café getanzt, that would be correct because there's no direction. You spend the whole night boogieing away in one place. You didn't move anywhere, or you might have shimmied to the side, but you didn't go somewhere. So it would be correct to say, ich habe die ganze Nacht im Café getanzt. Now we'll do some examples, so feel free to pause the video and have a go at them and then play it and go through them.
Number 1. I ate an apple.
Ich habe gegessen einen Apfel. That is incorrect because the past participle, this is a rule, it always happens, always goes to the end. So the correct one is ich habe einen Apfel gegessen. So always remember, ich habe comes first, whatever's in the middle goes in the middle, and then gegessen goes on the end. Think of it as a nice sandwich, an apple sandwich in this case.
Number 2. He has read a book.
Hat ein Buch gelesen. Now, it would be the same if number 2 was he read a book. There is no difference in German.
Number 3. You plural stayed at mine.
Ihr seid bei mir geblieben. So, as we mentioned before, this is another irregular, and geblieben goes with sein.
Number 4. Wir haben gespielt.
We played.
Number 5. They walked to school.
Sie sind zur Schule gegangen. So remember that because this is a verb of direction, gehen, it goes with sein. And bleiben, although it's not quite a verb of direction, you are staying in a direction in a way. So we'll zoom out if you want to take any further notes. Now for our fun fact.
Es gibt über 2100 Schlösser in Deutschland.
Which means there are over 2,100 castles in Germany. Eat your heart out, Disneyland.
Bis bald!